There's a strange feeling you've probably experienced, even if you've never stopped to question it. You were completely fine just a few minutes ago. Nothing was wrong. Then you opened your phone, scrolled for a bit, and suddenly, everything felt off. Your room looked smaller. Your clothes didn't feel right. Your life, which felt normal moments ago, now felt like it wasn't enough. In today's video, we're breaking down the hidden psychology brands use to keep you spending, the exact mechanisms behind it, and why even smart people fall into this trap without realizing it. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's get into it. Social comparison, the foundation of everything. At the core of modern consumer behavior is one simple psychological principle: social comparison. Humans don't measure their success based on absolute standards. Instead, we measure ourselves against the people around us. We don't ask whether we have enough. We ask whether we have as much as others, whether our life looks similar, and whether we're keeping up. This instinct is deeply wired into us. For most of human history, understanding where you stood in your group was essential for survival. But back then, your comparison group was small, maybe a few dozen or 100 people you actually knew. Today, that system has been completely overloaded. Instead of comparing yourself to a small, realistic group, you're now comparing yourself to millions of people online, all showing their best moments. Perfect homes, perfect vacations, perfect lifestyles. And your brain processes this as reality, even though it's highly curated. The result is a constant feeling that you're falling behind, even when you're doing just fine. Aspirational identity marketing. Brands don't just sell products anymore, they sell identities. When you buy something today, you're not just buying an object, you're buying what that object represents. A watch is no longer just a way to tell time, it's a signal of success. A car is no longer just transportation, it becomes a statement about your status. Even something as simple as a gym membership or clothing brand becomes part of how you define yourself. This is intentional. Brands carefully build an image of the type of person who uses their product. Then they position that image as something desirable. You're not just buying the product, you're buying a version of yourself that you want to become. But here's the catch. That version of yourself is always slightly out of reach. The moment you buy into it, the standard moves forward. There's always a newer version, a better upgrade, a higher level. The gap never fully closes, and that's exactly how the system keeps you coming back. Scarcity and social proof. Another powerful strategy brands use is combining scarcity with social proof. Your brain is naturally wired to respond to both. When something feels rare, it automatically seems more valuable. When other people want it, it feels more trustworthy. Brands use this against you by creating artificial urgency. Limited time offers, low stock warnings, and messages like "only a few left" are designed to push you into making quick decisions. At the same time, they show you reviews, ratings, and popularity signals to reinforce the idea that everyone else is already buying it. Even when these signals are exaggerated or manipulated, your brain reacts the same way. It creates pressure. It makes you feel like you might miss out. And in that moment, you're not making a calm, logical decision. You're reacting to a trigger that was carefully designed to get you to act quickly. The new normal, luxury as a baseline. One of the most subtle but powerful strategies is how brands slowly change what feels normal. Over time, things that were once considered luxury become the new baseline. A few years ago, upgrading your phone every year felt excessive. Now it feels expected. High-end interiors, frequent travel, premium products, all of these have gradually shifted from being optional to feeling necessary in certain social circles. This change doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, through repeated exposure. You see it enough times that your brain starts to accept it as normal. And once something becomes your baseline, not having it feels like falling behind. This is one of the most expensive psychological shifts because it doesn't just influence one purchase, it changes your entire standard of living. You start spending more, not because you want more, but because it feels like the minimum required to keep up. The fear of looking poor. One of the strongest emotional triggers brands use is the fear of being perceived as struggling. This isn't about actual financial reality.
It's about how you think others see you. Certain products are designed to be visible status signals. Logos, recognizable designs, and brand identity all serve one purpose: to communicate something about you to others. When you don't have those signals, it can create a feeling that you're being judged or seen as less successful. This leads to a dangerous cycle. People spend money they don't really have just to maintain an image, not because they need the product, but because they want to avoid the feeling of being left out or seen as less than others. What makes this even more powerful is that everyone else is doing the same thing. It becomes a loop where people are constantly trying to signal success to each other, often at the cost of their actual financial well-being.
The algorithm knows you better than you think. Today, one of the biggest drivers of consumer behavior isn't just advertising, it's algorithms. Every platform you use is constantly learning about you: what you like, what you watch, what catches your attention, and what makes you click. This data is used to show you content that is most likely to trigger a response. If you respond to luxury content, you'll see more of it. If you react to trends, you'll be shown the latest ones. If you feel drawn to status signals, your feed will reflect that. Over time, your entire digital environment becomes tailored to your psychological triggers. It doesn't show you reality, it shows you what will keep you engaged and spending. This is why it often feels like you're discovering things naturally. But in reality, those things are being carefully placed in front of you. You're not just browsing, you're being guided.
Why awareness alone isn't enough. Understanding all of this is important, but it doesn't automatically make you immune. These systems are designed to work on a deep psychological level. Even when you recognize them, the emotional response can still be strong. And most importantly, separating identity from purchases changes everything. When you realize that you're not buying a product, but buying a feeling or identity, you gain control over the decision. So the next time you feel like your life isn't enough after scrolling for a few minutes, pause for a second and ask yourself, did anything actually change? Or was that feeling created for me? Because once you start asking that question, everything begins to shift. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.